This is Justin Chamness, and welcome back to another episode of the Midnight Mentors Late Night Cigar Lounge. That's right. Sometimes I'm coming to you on the weekend at midnight. That is Central Time. It's 1 a.m. over on the East Coast for all of you Eastern Daylight Time people. And hey, thanks for joining in. If you're watching or if you're catching the replay tonight, I've got something real special for you. We're going to talk about dispositions tonight, right? How about we talk about your disposition? Is it a sunny disposition or is it a stormy, rainy disposition? That's right. We're also going to talk about selling your deals. That's important. I'm going to share with you a little bit about my history. I'm going to try to encourage you a little bit. We're going to have a cigar. I got one picked out already right here, and I'm going to go ahead and light it up. But we're going to talk about dispositions tonight. We're going to talk about pricing deals so that when you go in the front door, you know where the back door is. Oh, yes. I know you've heard that before. Pricing the deal so you know you'll win. Well, you will at least increase your chances of winning if you're looking to wholesale or assign the deal. Now, if you're looking to build a portfolio, it's a lot the same also. You got to price the deal going in order to win. I've been smoking various things since I was in high school. And I'll tell you what, this particular cigar tonight reminds me exactly of what some of that old tobacco shop tobacco tasted like when I was in high school. Now, I don't know if any of you guys have an experience like that, but when I was in high school, I lived in a small town, and there was actually a little bit of a rule breaker in town. He owned a tobacco shop. He wouldn't sell us cigarettes, but he would sell us tobacco for pipes and things like that, and maybe an occasional cigar. This cigar is that Valencia that I had a week or two ago. I've been saving it. I'm just going to puff on it a little bit. It's not healthy to smoke so much, and I really need to cut back. I'm not having much smoke at all. I'm just having a couple maybe of these a month, mostly because of this midnight mentor session. But I can tell you what, this one here is pretty enjoyable. You don't have to be a cigar smoker to join in. This show is about making real estate fun. It's also about educating you so that you understand a little bit more than you did before you joined about doing seller finance, about doing various things in real estate. I've got some friends joining me in here tonight, and welcome, Michael.
What's up, buddy?
Hey, good to see you, dude.
You too.
I want to let everybody know that if you text me tonight your name, I'll send you my Getting Started in Creative Real Estate. Actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to send you my full seller finance course. How's that? I'm going to upgrade this. Boom, there it is. It's done. My full seller finance course with the agreement, packages, and everything. What I'm pushing here tonight, if I'm pushing something, and you guys know me, I'm a big pusher, is I've got this advanced phone school coming up here this month. Now, if you're in my coaching student program, I don't know why I've got this Casio, but it's a G-Shock. You guys ever see a G-Shock? This is a golden G-Shock. I don't know if you've ever seen a G-Shock before. It is an indestructible watch. And this one here is pretty special to me because it's gold. And you don't see those too often. Usually the G-Shock is pretty, because it's such a rugged watch, it's pretty hardcore. And kind of it's very manly. This one here though is gold, so I can wear it when I have to dress up and things like that sometimes, and so I like it. This is my favorite watch of all time, the G-Shock, but it's a cast. It's pretty expensive, not like a Rolex or something like that, but I can tell you what, when I go out places and wear it, sometimes people stop me and they're like, "Is that a G-Shock?" And I'm like, "Oh yeah, you know your Casio." That's for sure. So definitely enjoying a cigar, and my Casio keeps setting off this alarm. I don't know. I was pushing buttons on it earlier. I was sitting in the living room and it was kind of dark, and I was looking for the light. It's got a light button on it, so the light turns on the dial, and I guess I set an alarm somehow for every 5 minutes. But if that happens again, I'm gonna have to take it off. Nevertheless, if you're interested in my seller finance course, I'm giving it away. Obviously, you can get it if you want it without paying anything tonight, or when you watch the replay of this video. So go ahead and shoot me a text. My phone number is down here at the bottom of the screen. And we've got Lou coming on here. Lou doesn't have his camera on, but that's Lou. So if you see my phone number down there and you want the whole course, I'm doing the whole course, not just the workbook. Okay, everybody. So, but also, some big news kind of happened this week. I kind of pushed into the realm of AI a little bit, which we can talk about a little. Hey, Lou, what's going on, bud?
Ain't nothing much. I got this new laptop, and I guess it's a weird way of turning on the camera. So, it's weird.
Hey, it sure does look good, man.
Yeah.
You got a great camera, and the mic sounds good too. Michael's looking good over there too. You guys are sharp fellas. I should never let you on my Midnight Mentor session ever again because you make me look ugly. You're so pretty. Well, this week I pushed into AI and we developed with Leads Reacher. It's a go high level deal. You guys know other go high level deals out there: CRMs, text blasters, whatnot, email blasters, ringless voicemail. It's kind of everything. It's got a website on it that you can use for your creative real estate business. It's got my agreements on it now, but it's got AI now doing some pre-qualification questions. You may or may not like some program doing a lot of the legwork for you. I'm kind of old school, so I'm digging it, but I'm also kind of like ready to jump in still. Okay. So I'm, because I haven't fully learned to trust it. It's kind of like self-driving cars. Do you guys have a self-driving car at all? Does either one of you have like a Tesla or something like that? Okay. I was kind of hoping not, Although there's nothing wrong with having a Tesla, but I always say if I had one of those, I would not want to have the actual self-driving part turned on because I don't trust it. You know what I mean? Would you feel safe your car driving you while you're leaned back on your phone? What do you think? How you guys feel about that?
Driving me through Manhattan? I don't think so.
Bumper to bumper, getting this close to people on bicycles. Right?
Yeah, I wouldn't trust it.
Yeah, I would have a hard time trusting too. So, yeah, I feel that way about this AI stuff too. But the AI CRM is pretty cool. But I'm kind of getting used to it too. And it's about time. I'm a late converter. You guys know what that means? A late converter? You're probably a late converter too on some stuff. We probably all are. But yeah, in other words, I jump on the bandwagon late. So I'm going to let everybody else figure out if it works right first, and then I'm going to get on there and try it out myself. That's a late converter, but this AI, I'm kind of a little bit of a late converter, but this week we moved ahead a little bit, and so now the Leads Reacher program, if you buy it from me, it has that on it. So me and some of the guys in the club, like you guys, have been testing it a little and trying it, and then I tried it on some real leads, and I had some good responses. And then I had a couple responses that I was like, oh man. So in other words, and you guys will think this is funny, when it gets to the booking of booking a time for me to call them part. Okay, so it'll get the email address, it'll ask them the pre-qualification questions and everything, and then it will get the email for a written offer, and then it will attempt to book a time for me to call them. Okay, so AI will do all of that. When it got to the part about booking a time to call, so it got that far into it. We're at the right at the end. It said, I have a few slots available, 4:15, 5:15, 6:15, which slot fits you best? And the prospect texted back and said, you're weird. Slots. I was like, yeah, who uses slots? I don't know. That sounded kind of funny, I thought. I was like he took it in some kind of sexual way. That's what I assumed, at least, Like, which slot are we going to fit him into? Well, nevertheless, it got pretty far with that guy, and then I think he was, he's still a good lead. He just wasn't willing to pick a slot to get fit into. So anyway, this is what we talk about on Midnight Mentor. I've got some fun things to do tonight, and then we have some things to talk about too. You guys wanted to address some things, and I want to talk about those too. The live chat is open if you guys want to throw some stuff in the chat. We do have... We got one of my good dudes, Carl. I've been thinking about you, Carl. I missed you this last week. We didn't talk, and I'm used to talking to you about once a week, so it's good to see you here tonight. And if you got a comment you want to throw at me, I'll try to put it up on the screen here, and you can just participate from out and about wherever you may be watching. And again, thank you for watching. And so we really want this to be inclusive for everybody that wants to participate, so don't feel ashamed to throw something in the chat at us. We like that. But I've got some questions here. Everybody knows what SFH means? Let's take a little test real quick before we get into serious talk. What's SFH stand for? Does anybody know? In real estate.
Single family home.
Single family home or single family house. What's SOL stand for?
Shit out of luck.
Yeah. No slot for you, right? What does MF stand for? Now, this is real estate related, okay? So we can't get too dirty with it now.
Multifamily.
Right, multifamily. This one's an easy one, too. We're going to get some hard ones here real quick, though. What about this one?
Multiple
ML.
listing service.
Yeah, that's that realty stuff. Right, exactly. Okay, how about this one? What does D4D? It reminds me of WD-40. But this is real estate related, not car repair related or whatever. D4D. This is, you get extra bonus points if you get this one right. All right. Rodebert says drive $4. Hey, good job. Good job. That's good. Good. Okay, so you get the bonus points, Rotobert. All right, here's the next one. What does PSA stand for? This is all real estate related stuff now. Not that SOL one, but the rest of them. We got to put on some epic music here because this is a test. Let's try it here. What do you think? PSA. I'll use it in a sentence. I'm going to send you my PSA.
Well, I want to say purchase agreement, but I forget what the alias.
Yes, purchase and sale agreement. That's correct. Correct. Purchase and sale agreement. Okay. Let's do the next one. This one's easy. What does EMD stand for? Could also be NREMD in our business. That made it tricky when I said it could also be NREMD.
Well, I know it's money down. What is it? E. With the E. It's your down payment. Don't forget.
It's your earnest money deposit.
There you go.
Boom. There you go. Earnest money deposit. And we also had an answer in the chat from Rotobert. Rotobert's just killing it tonight. He's really, really on fire. Yeah, so earnest money deposit. Now, if we had said NREMD, we would be referring to a non-refundable earnest money deposit. Non-refundable. And that happens in our business a lot as wholesalers. Okay, here's the next one. What does BK stand for? Whoppers. You might be talking to a seller and they say, yeah, I'm BK, or I'm going through BK.
Bankruptcy.
Bingo, bankruptcy. That's right. Okay, what about this? A seller might say, we've gotten an NOD.
Notice of default.
Yes. That's good. You're tearing it up, man. Okay, what does CFD stand for?
Yeah.
Nobody?
Nope.
Well, this is one of those big strategies. Contract for deed. Contract for deed. Okay, what about this one? This is that was tough. This is another toughie. What does GWD stand for? This is a hard one. All right, general warranty deed.
All right.
Now, this might be as opposed to a quit claim deed. For extra bonus points, can anyone tell me what is the difference between a general warranty deed and a quit claim deed?
I certainly don't know. I didn't know what GWD was.
Well, let's break it down. Both are deeds.
Right.
So both are, like we could say maybe in country boy terms, like the title to the house or something, right? Like the deed to the house. So you have a general warranty deed, and then you have a quit claim deed or quit claim deed. So a quit quitclaim deed is something someone signs over that does not have a warranty. Okay, so in other words, if I get a subject to caller, ring, ring, and I answer it, yeah, I'm walking away from this property. I'm so done with it. I'm gone on Friday. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to show up and I'm going to get a quitclaim deed. I might not record it yet, but I'm going to get one. It is him releasing the property deed from his name into mine. If I go to the title company and I have them do a title search and then we close it officially at the title company, they won't use a quitclaim deed. They will use a general warranty deed. Right? Because it's warranted. There's a warranty. There's a guarantee of sorts that it's free. It's free from clouds. Does that make sense, guys? Okay, let's do the next one. What does POF stand for? Proof of funds. That's right. And that's what the realtor will want to know if you make an offer on a bank-owned property. Do you have POF? Here's the next one. What does FMR stand for? Any ideas?
I'm gonna say mortgage rate, fixed mortgage rate. I don't know. FMR.
The answer is I can't remember. No, it's actually fair market rent. Okay. All right, and if you got that one, then you'll be able to figure out this one. What is FMV?
Fair market value.
Fair market value. What is the difference between fair market value and ARV, which is the next one? The difference between fair market value and ARV. What is ARV? What's that stand for?
After repair value.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. After repair value.
Okay.
What's the difference between after repair value and fair market value?
I guess fair market value would be what the price of the home would be now based on comps, and maybe after repair would be more like a prediction.
So fair market value is its value as is where is. After repair value is what its value would be if you were to repair it and put it in its nicest state. Okay. Now this is important big time when it comes to ugly house wholesaling, isn't it? All right. What about this one? What does DOM stand for? DOM. Uh-oh. Whips and chains.
Days on market.
Days on market. That's right. What does BOM stand for? I don't remember this one. Oh, I remember. I just looked it up though. Back on market. Back on market. Yeah. I don't see that one very often. Okay. Let's do another here. What is LOI?
I know what it is, but I'm seeing if anybody else is going to type it in.
I don't see any others typing. LOI. I used to use this a lot in the investment banker world.
Yes.
In my former life.
Letter of intent.
Yes, sir. A letter of intent. That is correct. And what is the difference between a letter of intent and a purchase and sale agreement. Can you tell us for bonus points?
No, the letter of intent is you're telling the person, "Hey, this is what I'm going to purchase it for. This is what I want to do."
Yes.
Agreement is this is it. I mean, we're moving forward with this.
So if you send a letter of intent to a seller, then it is you basically making a written offer. And if they sign the letter of intent accepting your intent, then they are agreeing to take the property off of the market until you and they can establish a purchase and sale agreement.
Okay. Makes sense to me.
Yes, sir. Okay. What about this one? NOI. This is big time when it comes to commercial or multifamily.
Net operating income.
And for bonus points, tell us what is net operating income?
Well, it's when you have a property that's producing rent, you have income. So, and then you have expenses involved. So you take the expenses off what rent's coming in, and then you have the net operating income.
That's correct. You have your net, not your gross. Your gross is all that you took in. Your net is after your expenses, right?
That's right.
Okay. What does AOC stand for? Now, that's a political question. Let's get out of that. Okay. What does TC stand for? And you'll see this a lot nowadays, especially on Facebook. Like they'll be talking about, for example, on Facebook, here's a subject to deal and it comes with a TC. Or you'll need a TC to do this.
Well,
okay, let's take a look at the chat. What's going on, Big Sheik? TC stands for Transaction Coordinator.
well,
Now tell me, what is a transaction coordinator?
this is the person who helps you with the transaction. You're a person who's doing all the paperwork and getting everything all together for you.
That's right. That is your chief paperwork operator right there. Helping you put the pieces together. That's right. Okay, so sometimes they come from the title company and sometimes you hire one. All right, now here's one that's not necessarily real estate related, but it is kind of if you're out there trying to move and shake. What does SEO stand for?
Search engine something. I can't.
That's really close.
I don't remember that one.
Search engine optimization. That's right. What's it mean in country boy terms? In caveman terms, what is it?
It means Google it.
That means I'm getting my site ranked up on Google. Here's a hard one. AOH. This one here is a tough one. I'm going to give it to you. Affidavit of heirship.
What? Affidavit of what?
Heirship. HEIRSHIP. Heir. What would an affidavit of heirship pertain to? What kind of deal maybe would we see this brought up?
Someone dies and
Yeah.
gives
Usually somebody has to die to have an heir, right?
That's right.
Right. Okay. So this might be one of those deals where we're talking about a probate deal or something.
Yeah, something like that.
Now, this is something landlords love to talk about. COC. What does it stand for? Landlords love it. They love it. I don't know. I see landlords talk about this a lot. It seems like when they're talking about analyzing their deals, they want to know what the COC is.
I want to know what the cash on cash is.
Yes, the cash on cash return, right? Which is kind of like what this is, the ROI. What does the ROI stand for?
Return of investment.
The return on investment. Okay, here's the last one. You ready? You guys have been great sports. What does the cap percent stand for? That's it.
I know what it is, but I want to see if anybody's going to type it in. Come on, guys. Mainly for commercial properties.
Or, yeah, multifamily stuff. Yeah. So, cap rate. That's what it is. It's a cap rate. Okay. Let's look it up. Let's look it up. Here's what it says on Google. And I'm going to share screens and show you guys what cap rate says on Google. It says calculated by dividing a property's net operating income, that's NOI, remember we talked about that, by its asset value. The cap rate is an assessment of the yield of a property over 1 year. For example, a property worth $14 million generating $600,000 a year of net operating income, that's after expenses, would have a cap rate of 4.3%. Okay, now that we've read that, here's a bonus question. What is better for the investor? A low cap rate of 4.3 or a high cap rate of 18?
I would have to say I have to go low. Everybody wants a high one, but the low one is better. It means the property's more stable.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So if you find a cap rate of 18, that probably means it's in the war zone.
Yeah.
But that might be some good money if you get it working right.
Sure.
Okay. So, yeah. You might not be looking for an 18, but you might be. You might not be looking for a 4, but you might be looking for a 10. It's kind of like girlfriends. Right? Cap rates are like girlfriends. Don't quote me on that. I'm happily married. But you might not be looking for a 4, but you're definitely looking for a 10, right? All right. That's a good test there, man. You guys did good. I'm really impressed with you. Thank you for participating in that. And let's talk about something else. Let's change topics here and talk about dispositions. And I'm going to look up something here on Google. I'm going to look up what is the average price of homes in America. Because when we're talking about selling deals, we want to talk about getting into deals that will sell. And this is what Google says about getting into deals that will sell average wise, okay? It says the average home price in the United States was $495,000 in the second quarter of 23. Isn't that crazy? Isn't that crazy? So when I'm talking about getting into deals, pricing deals, finding deals that you feel confident will sell, you want to be creating deals that have the most potential buyers or tenant buyers. Okay. And I'm here to tell you that $495,000 is crazy high. All right. Now, maybe that's not crazy high in California. Maybe that's not crazy high in Manhattan, New York. Maybe some of the boroughs up there, you know, some other places around. Maybe that's not crazy. But let's look up something else here. Average household income in America. And this will enlighten you maybe. Average household income in America in 2022 was $75,000, let's just call it. Which is a little decrease. I'm not here to influence you politically, but figures like this might. $75,000. Now, let's do a little math here. If we do a little math, and I've got a Sharp here. That's right. A Sharp calculator. I'm going to take $75,000 and I'm going to divide it by 12 because there's 12 months in a year. That's $6,250 a month. Average income. Okay. Per month. Household income. $6,250 is the average. Can a household that's average afford a $435,000 house? What was it? What was the number?
$495.
Can a $6,250 a month income household wise afford $495,000 house? Yes or no?
Depends on the interest rate.
Well, I'm glad you said that because what I want to do is I want to go over here. Remember those numbers now. I want to do a mortgage calculator. And let's just do a $495,000 house. 30 years, fixed interest rate at what it is currently today. 34.58, and this is not including taxes and insurance and stuff. Can a household that's making $6,250 a month afford a $4,000 house payment?
Well, it would be no, because they have other expenses they have to take care of.
Exactly. So what is the general rule here when we're talking about doing deals? We have a dispositions rule. Now, when we're pre-qualifying tenant buyers, we always want to find out if they make how much times what the monthly payment is.
We'll do three times that amount.
At least.
At least, right?
At least 3 times that amount. So if the payment on a $495,000 house is, let's say, $4,000, they would need to be making at least $12,000. They would have to be double the average household income. Does that make sense, guys? So let's actually put some different numbers in here and try to find out where the average American lives. Now, you can do this for your area, okay? Because I'm just doing general blanket across America here. So let's try this. I'm going to refresh this calculator, and we're going to do 240,000 at basically what the interest is. That's $1,687. If we were to add taxes and fees onto that, let's see what happens. 240,000. They're not going to have $50,000 to put down, and the interest rate's going to be 7.5%. Let's say, look at that, $21.96 Is that about 3 times that amount about what the average household income is? What was the average household income? Remember, 6,500 a month?
Yeah. Yeah.
So the average Joe out there can afford about a $2,000, $2,100, $2,200 a month payment. But that's the max. And this is if they have good credit. Look at the credit score down here. 700 to 719. If we put it down where they normally are, somewhere around here, it's going to go up a little bit. It's going to be more like, probably maxing out their abilities. Okay. So if you're fishing for house deals and you find a deal, like I was talking to a guy this last week, I don't think he signed the document yet, but we sent him a written offer, and he's wanting $465,000, and he's in a 3-month lease purchase, and he's wanting $4,100 a month.
Wow.
Oh, so this is the seller who wants $4,100.
Yeah.
Okay.
What has he done to the buyer pool?
He shrunk it.
Yeah. Smaller. Now we're looking for above average income earners. Okay, for sure. So I've been saying this like a freaking mantra lately, and I don't know if you guys have heard or not, but the whole key to selling your deals is recognizing, first of all, that you are an affordable housing dealer. You really are. And why do I say that? It's because you're actually looking for tenant buyers that are not able to qualify for the mortgage or afford a mortgage currently with these numbers. Okay. So you're talking about average Joe people. They're entrepreneurs. They started a business. They're self-employed. They're maybe they haven't filed tax returns in a couple years. Uh-oh.
No, I filed it, so but that was me.
Yeah, and you're self-employed too, Lou. So yeah, I mean, you get exactly what I'm talking about here. Now, their average income being about what it is. Okay, so that means if I'm really, really looking for my sweet spot, it's somewhere less than $250,000 in a house. Now, does that mean you can't do a big deal like the deal I was talking about for $465,000 and $4,000? No, it's in a nice neighborhood. There's a great possibility we can find somebody, but this is a little bit on the steeper side. Okay, I'm not so confident I can find somebody, but if I find a house, actually, Lou and I did a deal recently this year that fit these parameters very nicely. Do you remember what that one cost?
Are you talking about the one that's in the high desert?
Yeah.
Oh gosh, I can't remember on top of my head.
It's like 180,000 or 220 or something like that. It was like in that range. Yeah.
Yeah.
And do you remember what the monthly payment was?
Man, I want to say it was like $1,500. I think
it was like $1,900. I think.
$1,900. Yeah.
Yeah. So you can see it's in that sweet spot. Okay. Now what I'm saying is I'm just thinking logically here, doing the math, and I'm just going through the general all of America numbers. Okay, which does not apply in your geographic region. Okay, so if you're in certain parts of California, which the deal that Lou was involved in there, that was in California, it wasn't even that pretty of a deal, but it was in that sweet spot. So he was able to locate somebody. That person put down $20,000.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it was. I'm pretty sure it was 20,000.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you're in that sweet spot, you can get somewhere between 7 and 10% down from them usually. Okay. Just from my experience. All right. So in other words, if you're fishing around in certain parts of the country, it really pays a little bit before you put a deal under contract to do a little research in that area and find out what is the median or what is the average household income in that area. Okay, and then multiply that bad boy by 3. That's the amount of payment, right? I mean, that's I'm sorry, they can't afford anything less than anything more than about 1/3 of their income, right? And so you got to kind of adjust for where you're fishing, okay? Just like fishing, you got to adjust the lure for how deep the bottom is. You guys are you guys fishermen? I love to fish sometimes, yeah. So if I'm fishing in a pond and it's only 8 feet deep, I can't have 10 foot between my bobber and the hook. Because the bobber won't work because the hook's sitting on the bottom. Okay, so I've got to pull the bobber down closer to the hook to fit the depth. Okay, this is just a metaphor for any of the fishermen out there. So when you're getting into the front door on a deal, you want to kind of think, what is the possibility of me locating a tenant buyer here based on the average household income? Now, like I was saying, that deal that I was talking about this last week, when I talked to the seller, he was wanting this crazy amount of money in a way. In that particular area, that's not that crazy. It's not that crazy. But it is kind of crazy because it's about $400 or $500 too much a month for the area. Okay, it's about another probably $70,000 too much in purchase price, which we can probably make up over the 3 years. Okay, if you guys are familiar with the lease options, you know what I'm talking about. The future appreciation over 3 years. We can probably handle some of this overpriced in the purchase price, but the payment being about $500 too much, that makes me a little less confident in that deal than I would be, like, for example, in the deal that Lou was referring to. So
what are you going to do?
So what are you going to do?
What are you going to do with you think
say,
out, or are you gonna try to negotiate a lower price? How's that gonna happen?
Yeah, you gotta negotiate a little bit. So once you negotiate a little bit, if you can negotiate, see, and also there's really no reason to put a deal under contract if you can't sell it.
Right.
If you don't think you can sell it, there's not much reason to even get in business with the guy. So I am not that confident on that one, but I was pretty confident on the one that you were talking about there. So when I say you're an affordable housing dealer, I'm talking about that exactly. Okay. That exactly. All right. Let me show you another thing here. And this comes right out of my contract. Okay. Here is my contract. And I'm going to share screens again and show you. Now, this contract has been added to Leads Reacher. So you'll see this is the option to purchase section of the lease option. There's a lease part, and then this is the option part. Okay. There's the intention to sublet or assign, so I could sandwich the deal or I could assign it as a wholesaler. Permission to market to new tenant buyers. The tenant buyer has the right to market their interest in the property. That's you. You have the right to market the property, including placing signs. Okay. Now, these are placed in strategic order in this agreement because I can tell you that a sign in the yard is the numero uno way to find a tenant buyer. Okay. So in the agreement that the seller signs here, he's giving us permission to put a sign in the yard. Now, you might also verbally confirm with him. Now, I was talking to Michael earlier this week about this, and he was saying that he's got this deal with this other thing, and they have signs that cost like a buttload. Do you guys know what a buttload means? Okay. That's a country boy term, right? Now, here's a $23 sign, rent to own. You put your name, you put your phone number on it. In fact, you could send this directly to the seller if you're doing this virtually, because remember, you order something from Amazon, you can have it mailed directly to the seller. You could even add a big Sharpie marker and send both the marker and the sign to the homeowner and still be under $30. And it will be delivered right to them, and they could put your phone number on and put it in the front yard. Okay. So let me show you that, because I put that in the wrong window and you can't see it. So let's do that. Here's what I'm talking about on Amazon. Rent to own, 24 by 18, $23, delivered by Saturday. That's anywhere in the country, basically. Okay. Throw a marker in there. You got like a couple extra bucks. Look at this. This sign is only $17.99, but where do you put your phone number? I don't know. Okay. But that is the number one way of finding a tenant buyer. Okay, so let's go back here to that paragraph. Permission to market to new tenant buyers. The tenant buyer, you, has the right to market their interest in the property, including placing signs, using social media, which I mean Facebook Marketplace, which, by the way, is not as good as it used to be. And the reason why is because, really, frankly, they're communist. I mean, they want every listing to look just exactly like the listing next to it. No one is special. You can't put a title on it. You can't put a heading on it that says owner finance, rent to own, lease option, lease purchase, rent it until you can buy it. You can't do diddly to make your listing stand out. And that's why I say Facebook Marketplace is not as good as having a sign in the front yard. When you put a sign in the front yard, people will start talking about your property deal. That's when they drive by, they're going to call their wife. Oh, hey, I saw that house up on the corner. It says rent to own. And hey, did you want to call Becky? Okay. Let her know. She's been wanting to move into this neighborhood. Tell her that this might be the house for her. Okay. Using social media, that's Facebook Marketplace and other things. I like Zillow Rental Manager. Okay. Listing on the local MLS. Listing on the local MLS. Okay. Can you list a lease option on the MLS? Yes or no?
If you have access to the MLS, I suppose.
Well, yeah. I mean, in some places, there's that flat rate MLS thing going.
Yeah.
You might be able to do it that way. And in my local market, I have a realtor buddy that we would partner up with a little here and, do a little bit of this and share some of that money. What's wrong with that? So, what I want to do is I want to take some of the limitations off, because you guys hear me talk about Facebook Marketplace a lot, and it's cool. That's where Lou found his tenant buyer on the deal he was talking about. I find a lot of tenant buyers off of Facebook Marketplace, but I'll tell you, you find more of them off of a sign. But you could even put it on the MLS. You could. Okay, you could. You get the seller's permission right here. You move forward with listing your deal up there like that. Okay. Just a thought. Now, as far as pre-qualifying a tenant buyer, that's not that hard either. It does take some work, and It's just asking questions. Okay. One of those questions is do they have enough income 3 times what the payment is? Remember, we talked about that. Do they have money down? Okay, sufficient enough to make you happy. Okay, do they also have the ability to take and pass a background screen? Do they have employment verification? Do they have maybe rental history that's positive? Okay. So you want to find out all of those things before they see the house. Okay. So it's like fishing again, and you get to pick which fish you want to actually pull into the boat. All right. So you're not going to pull all of them into the boat. A lot of them you're going to throw back, but you're going to pull the ones that fit, right? The right size, because there's always size. It's the law. When you're talking about fish, you can't keep certain fish because they're not big enough. And certain fish you can keep because they're plenty big enough. Okay. So that is, in a nutshell, really quickly, a little bit about what you guys were asking about in the chat room today about knowing if your deal is, if it's a pretty good deal, pricing it up front to win. And so let me just ask you, do you have questions about anything before I get into a quick motivational thing?
I do.
Yeah, what's your questions, man? Okay, Lou, I'm going to have to leave soon too, man. So if you peel out of here, I'll see you later. Lou sent me a private message, everybody. Thanks for being here, man. What was your question, Michael?
As far as like pricing, what do you price it? Like, do you comp the properties and price it at what it would be appraised at? Because a lot of times, you know, especially like for sale by owners, they're like, they want to get, well, I just put this much in renovations and I want to get that, or my neighbor's house down the street sold for this, but that house is a lot nicer. So do you go through the process of comping the property and then say, hey, this is my offer based on the comps? Or do you go with their inflated price? How do you
Okay.
do it? 'Cause I mean,
Okay, good question. So that deal that I was talking about, that's actually here in my local area, Bob brought it, and thanks, Bob, for bringing that deal in. That deal is probably going to comp out somewhere, like I said, $75,000, $80,000 less. Okay. However, in that area, you could expect 5% or more appreciation per year. Okay. So here's where it gets a little loosey-goosey and in your benefit. Okay. So if a guy is a little high on purchase price, that might be okay. It's when he's too high on the payment that no one in the area can afford that dang much. Okay. That's the real problem. So the problem is not necessarily the purchase price. And here's why. Because if I took, let's say, 300,000, what did I say it was? 465. I think it was 325 is what it comped out at or something. I think he bought it a year ago for 325. If I add 5% for the first year, if I add 5% for the second year, if I add 5% for the third year of my 36-month lease option, now I'm actually kind of in the range that he's asking.
gotcha.
Okay. So in other words, I'm able to contract this deal way more expensive than what actually literally makes sense today.
Right.
Because I've got that future appreciation coming in. So not all the time does it work, okay? But in this particular case, yeah, it worked. I'm trying to remember what it actually was worth today. Let's just assume it was 365. And I'm going to add 5% to that, which is 383. And then I'm going to add 5% to that, which is 402. And then I'm going to add 5% to that, which is 422. Okay, so I'm way, way higher than what the property's actual worth is today. But I'm actually okay with that because in this particular area, it's getting appreciation anywhere between 5 and 10% a year.
Right. So you look at what the appreciation rate would be.
Bingo.
And then you then you would have, if they're asking, say, 40,000 over the,
Yeah.
the comp price today, but in 2 or 3 years, that would make sense. So you look at that number, the appreciation price, to see if you're in range.
Yeah.
And then
That's
you
right.
want today's market rent. So you're okay with the future price, the future appreciation price, but you want today's market rent, not like a future market rent, right? You want like the cheapest possible rent.
I want whatever the market can afford and rent. Yeah.
And rent. Okay.
Based on the median household income, right? So if it's not anywhere near that number, then I know right away if it's too high, I'm going to have a hard time finding people with jobs good enough to support this. Okay. So, but now the purchase price being like a little high, I'm not so worried about that because I've got the benefit of future appreciation. Now, I still am a little concerned about future appreciation because it can't be so high that there's no spread left for me. Does that make sense, dude?
Yeah, I totally get that.
Yeah. So, I mean, if he wants what the fair market value is projected to be 3 years from now, well, he's not left any meat on the bone whatsoever. Okay. Right. He wants the full Kit Kat and caboodle. I mean, I can go beyond the full purchase price today because I've got 3 years of appreciation I can count on, but I can't really get too crazy with that payment because they're making that payment now. They're not making that payment in 3 years. Okay. Hopefully the people that get moved into the property will be able to adjust their life, reduce their debts, increase their income, maybe pick up a second job, whatever they got to do in order to afford to get the mortgage in 36 months. It's a long time. A lot of great things can happen for families in 36 months. Okay. Does that make sense? Or am I confusing?
No, that's perfect. I just have one other follow-up question to that. So when you like, as far as the option fee, so you'll look at, the house today is worth X, and in 2 years with 5% appreciation is going to be, worth X amount. So you want to do that the option fee. That's what the price should be in 2 years with just the appreciation, right? Like you should work that out. Not that, it's 2 years is up 50,000 plus a $15,000 option fee. Now it's 65. You still want it to stay.
Yeah.
50,000 range option fees work in there.
Yeah. So if I've added the projected appreciation over the term of 36 months, I've added, let's say 5% for the first year, another 5% for the second year, another 5% for the third year. And let's say that number is 485,000. Okay. It's okay if I contract that deal at 465 with the seller because he's left $20,000 worth of appreciated value that he's not claiming for himself. Okay. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's perfect. Yeah, that clears up a lot as far as the pricing.
Yeah.
That makes perfect sense.
Now, if the appreciated value in 36 months is 485 and he wants 505 or 510, no, can't do it because you're squeezing everybody, man. Nobody can, it won't even appraise for that. I mean, and if it does, you'll be lucky. And then you left nothing for me.
Right.
Okay. Yeah. So that's a little bit about that deal analysis stuff. Any other questions about that pricing and?
I think the numbers you clarified a lot for me on that. So I was sort of stuck there.
Yeah. It's not too hard. It just takes a little practice and a little bit of research, Some other things, like I always check to see how far it is from Walmart, the property. How far is it from, where people work and stuff. Like if we're talking about a house that's, like an hour from town and it's also super inflated price, and what are my chances? I mean, not good. Okay. So, it's kind of like can you put yourself in the shoes of the tenant buyer you seek? Can they, and if you can pretend that their income is the average income, it's what you would make, let's say if you were them, would you be able to afford it living an hour from town, driving an hour to go to Walmart, to take your kids to school is 16 miles, to, I mean, no, not, and pay ridiculous prices and top rents. And okay, so there are sellers out there that are super duper greedy. And we know that. And you're going to find them a lot. And that's partly the economy we're in, because they still have not gotten a taste yet of having the prices come down enough. In some cases they have, but in a lot of cases they haven't. So you just got to know when you can pull the trigger on a deal and when you can't. Now, sometimes you can be reasonable with the guy, and I'll even tell a guy this, a homeowner, I'll say things like, hey, dude, fair market rent on that property is $2,200 a month. You're asking 26. That makes me not so confident that we can find somebody. Is there anything more reasonable you can do to get it close to what the people in the area will be willing to pay and afford, what they can afford? If he says no, man, I put granite countertops in here. Who gives a, who cares? People are not going to pay $600 or $500 a month more for your dumb granite countertops. Yes. I put a bidet and a spa tub in the bathroom. Okay, cool. Is that worth an extra $500 a month? No. Okay, that does not change who the people are that live there in that area. All right, so I've talked to a lot of homeowners that are like, they're so high on their property. They're like, oh, yeah, it's like the Taj Mahal. That's what Ron LeGrand says. It's such a nice property. Oh, it's so wonderful. I've done all these great things to it. Great, then why don't you live there? Why are you moving? You're pricing yourself out of the market. So, yeah, I will not try a deal that I'm not pretty confident that I can find someone. And this is a bit of practice, but it's also you can negotiate. You can say, hey, listen, it's 2,200 is what the fair market rent is. You're asking 26. Can you come down? Oh, no, you can't. Okay, well, then this might not be a good fit for me. Okay. I'll put you in my beehive and I'll follow up with you in 30 or 60 days. Sometimes you can look on Zillow and see that the guy listed the property for rent for $2,600 6 months ago, and he ain't rented it out yet. Well, what in the world makes him think that you're going to rent it out for $2,600?
Right.
Nothing. He's living in a pipe dream. So, yeah. Hopefully that's helpful a little bit. I feel like it's kind of confusing, but I hope I did an okay job.
Real clear. I totally get that now.
So it's better for your psyche to walk away from a bad deal than to contract everybody that says yes and they give you crazy numbers. Because then you get deals that you can't sell, and then it hurts your heart when it doesn't sell, and you had all your hopes and your dreams on it. You was going to, do this with the money, or you're going to, and then, you realize, my chances just went right down the toilet. Well, they were always circling in the toilet. You just didn't realize it yet, So, yeah, that's that thing. Okay. Any other questions about that, Michael?
No, I think the pricing that was great. I wanted to go back to the signs and the Facebook Marketplace.
Yeah.
As far as like Dispo, is that like the two main that you use, the Facebook Marketplace and the signs? And
yes,
which one do you usually find your tenant buyers more often on, from the sign or the marketplace?
The signs. Numero uno. Facebook Marketplace is a backup for me. Okay, so like I'll use Facebook Marketplace anytime I can, every single time I can. But I really, really, really want to get a sign in the front yard ASAP. Okay, because that is the most impactful marketing for me. All right. If I can't get a sign in the front yard, then I just have to eat it and be like, okay, well, I guess we're relegated to just Facebook Marketplace. But, if I can get a sign in the yard, that's what I want to do every time. That's in that order. Sign in the yard, Facebook Marketplace, Zillow Rental Manager, and then maybe something else if that's not working. Okay. But if I've priced my deal okay, it should be working.
Okay.
Yeah.
And another question. As far as the time frame for selling a deal, what would you say, the deals you sell, what is an average time frame that's, priced right?
Yeah. So today is June 30th. So let's call it July 1st. I'm going to try to set this up with the seller to be ready for me to have somebody or walk away by September 1st. That's 60 days. Okay. So in my contract, I'm going to give myself 60 days. I'm going to tell the homeowner, listen, we're going to try to find somebody in the first week, in the first day. You might be ready for somebody to move in on July 1st, maybe August 1st, but let me have enough runway here to at least keep looking if we don't have somebody ready to go. Mr. Homeowner, we're going to have to run background screens on these people, pre-qualify them, and then they're going to have to like the house, see the house, like it. They're going to have to pass background screens and credit checks, income verification. We're going to have to do a number of things with this tenant buyer, and you're also going to have to approve them. I cannot guarantee you that will happen by August 1st. That is 1 month from now. But if I want to, maybe we will. If I don't, I want the ability to keep looking and working with someone until I get them ready. So let's call a drop dead date of September 1st. Okay. 60 days. Now I've had it run over 60 days many times. Okay. But usually by 60 days, I've had some really good hits. Okay, so I can go back to the seller and say, hey, listen, I've had some really good hits. They haven't quite qualified yet, but I'm confident that we will. Can I have just a little more time to keep working on this? And many times the guy will say yes. Okay, not always, but many times. All right, but the average is about 60 days.
Okay.
Anything else, good sir?
No.
Okay. Okay, good. These are all great questions. I like it, man. So I was going to share some motivational stuff with everybody here about what it takes to be successful in this business, and I'm going to do this in 5 minutes or less, and then I'm going to go to bed. But when my history is a little bit like I have earned through hard work and through a lot of bangs and bumps what confidence I have in doing this. Okay. And so part of that is for a while back in 2010, remember I tell everybody that I kind of dropped out of the business for about 4 years because I lost my shirt in the crash of 2008, and I lost a bunch of deals that I had sandwiched, and I bought outright even with loans, and I signed some back over to the bank deed in lieu of foreclosure. So I was so hurt in 2010 that I took 4 years away from the business, and I went and I bartended. So as a bartender, I was miserable, and you can imagine why. And so I said to myself, I'm going to be the best damn bartender I can be. And I was the best bartender I could be. I had a guy walk into the bar one day, and he ordered a dirty martini, and then he ordered a second one, and then he ordered a third one. And then he ordered a fourth one. And if you know anything about dirty martinis, the fourth dirty martini, he was plastered. I mean, plastered. And he wrote me $1,000 tip check. He wrote me a check for $1,000. I did not cash it. I held on to it for about a week, and I called the guy and I said, hey, you wrote me this check about a week ago. Do you really want me to cash this or not? You were pretty hammered. And he worked right across the street. So he walked across the street. That guy was an investment banker. So he said, no, go ahead and cash that check, and I want you to come in for a job interview. So I went in and I interviewed, and what he told me was, he said, I want you to work in the investment banking firm, but I want you to do commercial real estate. And that's basically what it is. It's commercial real estate. And I also want you to work flipping paper, which is, at the time, it was FCC Spectrum licenses, but it works just like flipping houses. It's like flipping paper, like wholesaling deals is like flipping paper. That's exactly what it was. So I was really familiar with how all that stuff worked, except this was like on a higher end. And so I started working for the guy absolutely free. He offered me no pay. So I bartended full time. And then after work, I would go to the investment banker firm and I would work for him for free. I did that for 6 months. Why did I do it for 6 months for free? Because I was learning something. Okay. I already knew a little bit about it. And this, you might relate this to yourselves if you're watching this, because you know a little bit about real estate. You've done the little things here and there. You know maybe more than the average Joe about real estate and about flipping houses. But there's something that comes with being willing to put the work in and learn the process without actually having the promise of a payday. Like, I don't know when that first paycheck is going to be, but I know that it will come if I up my skill level and my game to the level of a paycheck. So I was willing to do that, and partly because I had read a book by Robert Kiyosaki called Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And in that book, he said, I have taken many jobs, but I didn't take them for the money. I took them for the education. So I took the job working for free for the education. Now, what I found in working for the education was I had to spend a lot of time on the phone. So I talked to a lot of sellers on the phone. Oddly enough, sellers. That's right. Commercial real estate sellers. And these were people who ran businesses. All right. So I was talking to very high-end wealthy people about selling parts of their business. I learned a lot from that. But what I really learned was I learned how to communicate with people. I learned how to talk to a seller. I learned how to determine with them on the phone immediately what the objective of my call was, because they don't have time for bullshit. I then learned how to tap into what their greed or their need was. Okay. From there, I learned how to uncover unsuccessful attempts that they've had at pulling off a sale before. So all these things I incorporated into my knowledge game. And then I discovered before long, why am I not doing this for myself again? Because I had been doing this for myself very poorly, but now I was doing it on a higher level for the investment banker. And so what I was doing, I realized I could do it for myself back in the real estate game. So I started doing it for myself in the real estate game again. Okay. My point here is that I wanted it so desperately bad that I was willing to do whatever it took to up my skill level to the point where I could earn a payday. What I have found in the real estate business is that a lot of students of mine, not Michael, not Lou, but a lot of students of mine, they just don't have that type of attitude. They just don't have it. They want it fast. They want it now. They want me to shortcut absolutely everything and make it simple, and they don't really understand anything about real estate much other than the surface level stuff they got from YouTube or listening to this podcast that Zach Ginn did or this or that or whoever it was. And all that's great and everything, but there's such a level of power that comes from actually experiencing the work of doing it. Okay. So when you're involved in doing the work of calling sellers and making offers and putting numbers together on deals, and you're not so sure about how to do it, it's super helpful to have a coach. But really, the power is in the fact that you're doing it. And you're learning so much. Okay. So what happens is some students, they start and they quit a month later, they quit 2 months later, they quit, long before they were ever up to par for getting a payday. And that's sad because they really started out wanting it. They just simply lacked the self-discipline to continue what I call grinding at the wheel. Okay. Grinding at the wheel. Yeah, it sucks. It's boring. I'm just grinding this wheel. I'm grinding it and grinding it and grinding it. Yeah, and it sucks. But you know what? I'm getting better. I'm getting smarter. I'm getting stronger. And that last seller I talked to, I handled that so much better than the seller I talked to before because I have a system in place, because I know what to say. I have confidence now. And before you know it, I was doing deals. The reason why I started getting paid 6 months into that free, what you might call internship, was because I started working on deals that were multi-million-dollar deals. Multi-million-dollar deals. And during my term with that investment banker, I worked on $80 million deals, $50 million deals, $3 million deals, $20 million deals, $1 million deals. Yeah, it changed my life. But I would have never gotten there had I not been willing to put work in for 6 months. 6 months. And I'm not trying to tell everybody out there, hey, even with my coaching, it's going to take you 6 months to learn how to do some of this shit. But really, in reality, that's kind of true. It's going to take you some time. And you're not going to shortcut your way there. You've got to earn it. There's no way around earning it. You get the education, you put it into practice. Knowledge is not power. Knowledge in action is power. Knowing how to do what you know to do. There's a Bible verse that says, to him that knows to do good but still does it not, that's sin. That's missing the mark. You're going to miss the target every single time you know to do something, but you just don't do it. Okay. So I guess I want to encourage everybody. Hey, if you've been plugging away at this for a while, 1, you need a coach. 2, I've got for $99, if you're in my coaching club, it's free to you. This month, I've got an advanced phone school that I'm teaching for 3 days. And I'm going to talk about exactly how to talk to homeowners on the phone, exactly what to say. I'm going to shortcut a lot of it for you, but I cannot shortcut the work. So you got to put the work in. And I promise you, if you put the work in, it's so worth it. Okay? When my ass is sitting on the beach, I've had 2 vacations this year. I live in a house that's debt-free. Okay? I can tell everybody to F off in my life. I don't, because I want to be a nice guy, but I can totally do that. Sometimes I get so fed up with the coaching business, I just want to be like, nah, I don't need to. You know what? I've been having health problems lately. I don't have to work. Not really. You know, it's because I've put the work in already. It's so worth it when you gut through all of that and you learn, and now you know. And so right now on the phone, oh yeah, man, talking to a guy about his $200,000 house, it don't mean diddly shit to me. Okay, I can talk about it. I can talk him down. I can negotiate with him. I can turn away and walk off. It doesn't matter to me because I am an absolute monster on the phone. I am good. I am the Godzilla of phone, okay? That's funny because I just watched that latest Godzilla movie. It's called Godzilla 1? What is that? I don't know. I can't remember, but it's actually a pretty good movie, man. I'm not a big Godzilla fan, but man, that movie was pretty good. So I didn't just start out that way, and I didn't just get there because I had a coach. I got there because I pounded the phone. every day. And then I critiqued myself. And I got better and better and better and better. And so now it doesn't take me as many leads to get a deal as it takes a new guy. But that doesn't mean that a new guy can't do this. It just means a new guy has to work harder than me. That's it. You got to work harder. You got to work more. I love you guys. Thanks for being a part of this tonight. I'm so glad you're here. Thanks, Michael, for hanging out with me so long. Let's wrap up now. Anything else you want to share? Anything you want to say, man?
No, thank you. This was great. Thank you so much.
Peace, brother.
Have a good night.
Yeah, you too, man. I'll see you later.
All right.
This has been another episode of the Midnight Mentor Late Night Cigar Lounge, where we're trying to get you to that shut up money, where you can tell your doubters and your haters, you can tell that nagging spouse, hey, look at what I got. I got that shut up money.